Emma's Universe podcast. Emma's Universe podcast. Emma's Universe podcast. Hello and welcome to Emma's Universe podcast. Yes, and we are recording our Monday's episode. So, welcome back to the podcast. Today, I want to talk about one of the hardest but most transformative spaces we find ourselves in, the in-between. Yes, that liminal space where you are no longer who you once were, but you haven't fully stepped into who you're becoming. It is uncomfortable, it's uncertain, and it often feels like standing on a bridge you're not sure you can trust. Yet, this bridge is sacred. It's where transformation is quietly shaping you. So, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. Let's get started. Now, let's talk about the discomfort of the in-between. Yes, we often crave clarity. We want the old doors closed and the new ones wide open, with a clear roadmap laid out. But growth rarely looks that clean. Instead, it feels messy. You've left behind familiar patterns, maybe even relationships or identities. But the new chapter hasn't revealed itself yet. Yes. And quite often, it's quite interesting actually. It happens, and again, being in the unknown is not something people like to be in. It's extremely uncomfortable. But when you have less clarity, that makes it even worse at some level. So this can feel like losing your footing. You might question, who am I if I'm not that anymore? And yet, this discomfort is proof of movement. Yes, it is. It's moving forward. You're no longer stuck in what once was. So, think about the caterpillars and the chrysalis. And I used that a lot in the past because when we talk about transformation, it's where you are the caterpillar inside of that chrysalis, and you have to dissolve into what looks like chaos before becoming a butterfly. The in-between is not a mistake. It's transformation at work. And if you think about it, it's uncomfortable. It can be stressful at times, but also you have the feeling of seeing a little bit of what you would like to see happening right here, right now, and see the transformation and be done with it. But you are in transition. So you're in that space where you really have to learn to embrace who you are and trust the process. I think the hardest part for most of us is trusting the process. When you absolutely trust yourself, trust God, or aka the Big Kahuna, or the universe, whatever you want to call it, and trust the process. That was Sonia Choquette, I remember, where she said that mantra: I trust the process, I trust myself, I trust God. And off you go. The uncertainty, the unknown, the darkness, quote unquote. When we talk about the darkness, is just, it shouldn't be called the darkness, but we're going to call it, for now, we're going to call it darkness for a minute here. But it's being into that unknown and that uncertainty that we don't know. We don't know what's coming in front of us. We don't know what will move forward, what doesn't move forward. We don't know. So the best bet is to take one step at a time and just get rolling. Things will unfold as it should be, at the pace it should be. Sometimes we want to take the bullet train proof and just go, hey, I want to go A to B, be done. Sometimes it takes a little longer. So let's talk about why the bridges season matters. We resist waiting. We resist uncertainty, but the bridge season is necessary. Yes, it is, because if you think about all of the season, and I talk about it on last week's podcast, actually, the seasons, and we all go through the cycle of the season, which is the winter, the spring, summer, fall. And this is the same thing with our cycle in life as well. So it teaches patience and resilience. It does. It strips away false layer of identity, leaving only what's real. It strengthens trust because you can't see the other side yet. You have to believe it exists. Without this sacred pause, we'd rush into roles or choices not meant for us. The bridge protects us from settling too soon. I know, it sounds very crazy, isn't it? But that bridge is necessary because that bridge, it helps us to direct us into the direction that we need. Now, sometimes we are on the edge and we see an abyss, we see an emptiness, and it's taking that leap of faith to do one step that what looks like nothing, and when you step in, then all of a sudden you see underneath your feet there is a bridge. And then you're going to do the next step, and you're going to see the other side of the bridge, the other part of the bridge, and you're going to start to walk into the unknown. That's part of what it is. It's, peeling the onions, the layers of who we are pretending to be, to really go into the core of our authenticity, or truly who we are. So it's amazing to see when we're going through that bridge of seasons that we are shedding ourselves. We are not going to take with us things that is not for our highest good. We have to let it go. And sometimes it takes a little more time to do that. So that bridge allows us to do this and really give us the, I would say, how can I say that? Because this is the interesting part of it too. It really shows us who we truly are, but it really brings us to a place where we can really be authentic. And I think it's hard sometimes to bring ourselves to that place of authenticity, but with this in mind, then we understand why that bridge is necessary. So something we need to do too, and that's why the pause is so sacred as well, is we have a tendency to want to rush to the next things, to the next level, but we're not quite ready yet or prepared. So why should we, in a sense of urgency, made the mistake to take something or go in a direction that is not ours to take? Are we going to end up in a dead end again? But instead, taking the time to really heal, move forward, and deciding as you go along what you want to experience, what you don't want, what are your goals, what are your next goal, what do you want to achieve. And in order to move up to the next level, this is what we need to do, have some clarity where we want to go, not rush to the first shiny things and say, hey, this is the next thing I want to experience, and you're like, after a minute, right, it's like, that wasn't what I wanted. So that bridge gives us that choice, and it's better to be protected by it and take a little bit more time before you move to the next level, so you can prepare yourself, ensuring that everything that needs to be decluttered in your life is decluttered, and move on to the next experience. So that's something we need to think about, that because a lot of people don't, and you don't want to repeat something or again had a roadblock or be stuck somewhere else when you just are on your way. So that is one thing we need to do. So think for a minute if you want to take it as the chrysalis, and you observe the chrysalis actually, because the butterfly has to get out of that chrysalis, has to break it. And that's what our breakthrough is, to move to the next level. So now let's talk about staying steady on the bridge. Again, it's not a race, it's not a sprint. If you wanted a race, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You need to walk, not feel like you're in a rush, because quite often we feel like we're in a rush. I'm out of time, so I need to do this now. No, you're not. One, you never run out of time, okay? That's something you need to tell yourself. I'm good, I'm always on time. I'm always on time. Everything is fine, everything works out as it's supposed to be. So, how do you keep from crumbling in this season? And we can talk about a few practices we can do on that. So one is name the season. Remind yourself you're not broken, you're becoming. So that is one thing. So when you've gone through the winter and you're doing the spring and you have done the summer and you're in the fall. Fall means going to go back to winter, which is the bridge, which is like, okay, what are we going to do next? What are we going to plant next? What are we going to fill out the blank next? So, where are you in your season? If you're in the winter, then you're going to be ready for the springtime. That sounds good. I like it. But, again, you have to remind yourself, when we're done with an entire cycle, with an entire season, then it's time to move on. Anchor and rituals. Small daily habits. Journaling, walking, meditating, ground you when the big picture feels unclear. It's so true. Sometimes we want to see everything because, again, we talked about being in control of what's going on in life, fill out the blank. And that's not how we do things here. This is not how it works. So we have to take the time, even when it's unclear, to know, trust the process, get it anchored deep inside of you. I know your ego is going to say, but no, because this and that and blah, 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 blah. Bring your fears, because that's what works the best. Bring fears in people, and people start to freak out, you do not breathe, and you imagine it's the end of the world when it's not. And when you start to breathe and ground yourself, then you start to see things unraveling the way it's supposed to be. You start to see things that you have not noticed before. You don't have to see the bigger picture, actually. Just what is your next step? That, I think, is more prevalent than anything else. If you got the bigger picture, good for you. But if you don't, just the next step is sufficient. And remind yourself, you're just doing it one step at a time. Now, releasing control. One of the hardest things, I think, for most people is releasing control. Instead of asking, when will it be over? Ask, what is this season teaching me? Release the control. Stop trying to control everything every minute. Because the more you control, the more you're creating obstacles. Dr. Joseph Murphy always said, we are our worst own enemies. We're the one who's adding more obstacles to our lives than anything else. We have to control, we have to blah, 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 blah. When you relinquish the control, you'll be surprised how things run smoother, faster. So, release the control. Celebrate small signs. Yes, celebrate, and I do that all the time actually. Notice the shifts. However subtle, however small, they are the proof you are crossing. They are the proof that things are moving forward, not backward. So take the time to do that. Appreciate where you are, even though sometimes it's not that easy. I totally agree with you. There are some days it's like, holy crap, come on. It's like, no. So let's say that if you're standing on that bridge right now, feeling suspended between the old and the new, I want to tell you this. You're not lost. You are being remade, which is true. You're transforming yourself. And this is in between isn't wasted. It's preparing you for the fullness of what's ahead. So trust the bridge. Trust that it will hold. And stop saying to yourself, I'm out of time. Because we're never out of time. If you start to say, I'm out of time, I almost this, blah, 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 you're creating a lack. Again, you're creating another obstacle that you don't need to. As a kid, I had to learn to to be resilient in the face of seeing nothing moving, literally nothing moving, than I wish for. And it took about a couple of years before things finally happened. And when that happened, the opportunity came along, then I took it and ran with it. I appreciate it. It was not easy knowing that you're in that bridge, you feel stuck where you're not, but be present, be whole, be grounded, and you will see the transformation. And it's a time to also figure it out what you like and you don't like. Because when people like or don't like, it makes a huge difference. So as you move along in your life, you will understand that things are moving in a direction that might or might not be fun for 5 minutes, but you realize that being uncomfortable brings us to the world of transformation. And not knowing what tomorrow will be, it's okay. You don't have to have all of the answers in 15 minutes. You don't. As you're settling into becoming you, or the new you, if you prefer, you will understand that not everything has to unravel in front of you, because as you're grounding yourself and doing something new and moving forward, maybe seeing the picture right away is not going to help you, because as a master painter, you have not drawn that painting yet. You have not done anything yet. You are on the front of that white canvas, and as you're transforming yourself, you're more the thinker. You're going to be the one who's going to get your imagination and say, I'm going to be maybe drawing a beautiful mountain, or maybe you're going to, whatever you're going to create. But in order to do that, you're going to have to think, and you're going to have to see what you want to do next. So the advantage to be on that bridge is to remind ourselves that we're preparing ourselves to the next level. We're leveling up. And that is something we need to take the time to do it. This is not a half-assed job, because if you do it, you're going to hit the wall and you're going to create even more difficulties and being a royal pain. However, when you are really celebrating and becoming and grounding yourself, then things gonna work in a way it's supposed to be, with ease. You're not gonna feel you're in the middle of a battle game, which is good, and that's what we're looking forward. So this was our podcast for today. It's a little bit a shorter one, close to 20 minutes, which is not bad for a Monday compared to the previous one that I've done. But it's just a little reminder for ourselves, ground ourselves, do something, journal, and be authentic to your own self. It takes a lot of courage and guts to really go through it and in an honest fashion for us. So enjoy the process. All my love, guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye now. Universe,